It is the story of Robin Hood and his, I don't know how to say this, his group of jovial fellows.
I'd go with Mary.
They're not married yet, though.
Yeah,
they're on their way to marry. Mary's coming.
No, I don't. That doesn't work. So anyway, it's sort of the story of the best way to put it is sort of Robin Hood before he becomes the storybook fairy tale Robin Hood that we know, and it also sort of gives him certainly far more importance in like the development of the Magna Carta
Who knew?
than he actually has, as he sort of goes to not necessarily the battle among arms, but an intellectual battle with King John while he defends the weak. And here's a clip.
All right, look, here's what they should have told you. This is the most important thing you're going to find out about it. They should have called it Robin Hood Part 1, okay? They never, look, this is not a spoiler. I need to tell you this. We're going to have a spoiler later, and we're going to give you plenty of warning, okay? But we need to tell you this so you have the right frame of mind. This is not the Robin Hood story. This is what led to Robin Hood. Then later, I assume we're going to have Robin Hood Part 2, where he actually becomes Robin Hood. But, you know, I think they did a great injustice to themselves by not letting people know that, because the whole time I felt, and maybe they did let people know and I missed it, because the whole time I'm like, when is he going to fucking become Robin Hood? Okay? I'm like, Jesus, is this movie going to be 9 hours?
And it felt like it.
Yeah. And so, I mean, all right, look, I got a lot to say on it, but let me start by saying this. I liked the first 3/4 of the movie. Don't get me wrong. I really did. I love this kind of stuff. I love the Ridley Scott Maximus combo. / Robin Hood. Okay, so I'm down for that, and the first 3/4 delivered. The last quarter is schwang, wang, wang. Okay, some of that's going to go in the spoiler alert. But Chrissy, what do you think?
It looks great. I mean, it comes with this totally impeccable pedigree, outstanding production values. I mean, it's awesome and epic. It is like an old-fashioned epic, but it has all the newfangled CGI and whatever. Great cast. I mean, you can't really go wrong with Russell Crowe and Cate Blanchett. And besides that, you have Max von Sydow, who's great in everything.
Yeah.
And he's awesome and lovely and has dignity and he's funny in this. Matthew McFadden is good in it. I mean, everyone.
Scott Grimes from ER is good in it, I thought. I think.
He's a would-be merry man.
He's a would-be merry man.
Yeah.
And an actor I think both of us like a lot, who's oddly become a villain, even though he's so incredibly charming.
Mark Strong.
Mark Strong.
He's always a villain in everything.
Yeah.
He's like the same guy he was in Kick-Ass here, essentially, and he has a face for that, and maybe he's getting typecast.
And in Sherlock Holmes too.
Yeah, but he's and in Rock and Rolla.
But he was not a villain in Rock and Rolla. He was incredibly charming. He was sort of a charming thief in Rock and Rolla.
He's great in that. Yeah. So, but he's good in this. Mark Addy's a really good choice to play Friar Tuck. But it is massively convoluted. I woke up at 5:30 in the morning, the day I was supposed to review this, and I realized I have no idea what Robin Hood's about. Like, there is so much stuff going on. It is crammed with all these various subplots, and
it goes in a lot of different. It goes in a lot of different directions. I did not like the first 3/4. I would say I liked the first act a lot. Mm-hmm. Like, I sort of went in with sort of. I saw it later than most people. I went in with, so I try not to have expectations, but I couldn't help but have expectations because I had talked to some people who'd seen it, including Christy.
I'm very influential.
You're very influential as far as and when it comes to talking about films. And but I thought the first third was great, and I thought that first battle sequence was great. great, and I liked this. I thought it was cool, and I thought it was exciting, and Danny Houston, an actor I like a lot, playing Richard the Lionhearted, and his is he going to trust Robin Hood, and what's their relationship going to be? And then it goes off in the sort of what's happening that both of you have discussed, and is he in the Sherwood Forest? When does he start stealing from the rich? When's he going to give to the poor? He has you can see the sort of germ of that in his head, because he is clearly standing up for the downtrodden throughout the movie. But you never quite know what he's doing, and I never quite knew. I still don't know whose flag was what, and I don't know why guys go into battle with 40 flags.
Because they're pretty. They photograph really nicely. They flap in the breeze.
I mean, they're on these horses, and Ridley Scott's got 50 guys on the horses, and everybody's got a flag. I mean, who's carrying a weapon if everybody's got to carry a flag? So, and then the French are involved, and then there's different bands of English, and it's very hard to know, not so much who's who, although I had a problem with that, but who's more important than anybody else? What are you supposed to pay attention to? What are you supposed to follow? And then I'll wrap it up by saying, ultimately, I thought it sort of devolved from an epic, which it looked great. It has the glossy look that you're looking for always in a movie. I thought it sort of devolved into this sort of exciting action film that it sort of was in the beginning and could have been and had its moments, into a fairy tale. And when it became a fairy tale, I lost interest, not just because it became a fairy tale, but because I thought it then became very inconsistent with how it started, and that also had the nonsense fairy tale ending that you're going to talk about in the spoiler alert.
Right. So, look, my ratings this week can be questioned, as often happens. I wound up rating it fairly high, actually. Okay.
You're going to don't see it, but I gave it a 9.
No. I gave it a 7.2, and I think that you almost should see it. Okay, because I know almost.
But you don't have to.
Almost. No, because
do you understand how this works?
Yes, I do. I try. I think. So no, here's the thing, because it's so cool in the beginning. It's exactly what you bargained for. It's exactly what I wanted. And I actually love the idea that it's Robin Hood before he becomes Robin Hood. If they made it clearer and how he got to be that guy, and then they cut it off, before that story begins, I like the idea. It's just at the end they were like, time to wrap it up. We ran out of money. Okay, and they're like, okay, here we go. Yeah, he's Robin Hood. They're in the woods. Let's go. Let's get out of here, right? And so 7.2 is a little unconscionably high, but because I liked it so much for such a long period of the movie before it fell off the cliff.
Okay. Do you want to give your spoiler alert thingy?
I do, but first I want to get your ratings real quick.
Okay, 5.7 for me, just based on the production values and the cast. I have a lot of problems with some of the romantic elements of it, which will be in your spoiler alert, I'm guessing.
Yes.
And I have no idea what happened. Even though Brian Helgeland, who won an Oscar for LA Confidential, wrote the script.
Didn't seem like it.
I don't really know what happened.
Yeah.
I might like it better if I understand it.
Yeah, I agree. And when I knew he'd written it, but there, as you stay through the credits and you see his name, you're like, you'd think you'd have a more coherent script, although there were some nice lines. I gave it a 6.0, similar to Christie's Grade. I thought the performances were good, some of them very good. Mark Addy as Friar Tuck, great. I liked Robin Hood's upcoming Band of Merry Men. I thought Kate Blanchett, all was good. But ultimately didn't quite follow what it was about, didn't know what was more important than the rest, and I think in the end a little disappointing, but certainly had an epic feel for a while.
Right, so in the end we wind up at a 6.3, which is a sensible average for this movie. I think that's what a lot of people are thinking about the movie. It's just such a split, because I think the beginning was so good and Ben agrees, and then the end is, arguably so bad. So now we're going to do a very rare spoiler alert for you guys. So those of you who want to watch and don't want it ruined, I hear you. God bless. We'll see you next week. But the ending deserved to be talked about. So give them the alert. Okay.
That's cute.
Very cute. All right. So now, for those of you who want to hear this.
That was awesome.
Right. For those of you who want to hear this, look, they have the final battle scene, right? And it sucked. And it didn't make any sense. Not the battle itself, it's fine, whatever, right? Marian shows up, all right? And that part pissed me off so much. Why? Okay? Now, she shows up in battle, good feminist thing, God bless. All right, no problem, right? She brings the kids on the donkeys. You're like, what are you doing? The ones that were in the forest, what are they doing here?
Who are the kids?
Who are the kids? You didn't build it up.
Who are the kids?
The big kids could have done so much more. They could have done so much more, but they just show up at the end with donkeys.
It would have been enough for Robin to sort of embrace these kids who had terrorized Nottingham as orphans because their fathers had all died in war or gone off to war. If he just embraced them at the end and turned them into sort of, he'd become a father figure to them and given them some sort of sense of community and civilization. But she brings them into battle, the future maid Marian does. I think it's unacceptable that she goes to battle because there was no indication that she had any training or whatever.
Not true. She's running the farm because her husband has been gone for 10 years. The guy she was married to for all the cup of coffee.
I know, running a farm. But
like,
Juan Valdez can't show up in the middle of a battle. Yeah, he runs a farm.
Where did she get the mini little girl armor?
She has all kind of swords and nonsense. She lives in this big castle. It's hanging on the walls. Just grab it.
Okay, now before women get pissed at us for saying she doesn't belong in the battle, the part that pissed me off was not her showing up. It was that she shows up and then gets her ass kicked, okay? And then he's got to go save her. Well, then you just ruined the whole feminist thing. Yeah, then she's an enormous liability with the kids on the donkeys and she falls in the water. Well, what the hell? And then he's got to go rescue her. And that reinforces, women need to be rescued.
She was a tough feminist broad established. I just didn't think that if they'd given her if she'd been sort of battle tested, I would have bought it. I just didn't think they'd set up. And she's there, and I was like, oh my God, she's there, and she brought the kids, and now this is going to turn into a romance, sort of the nonsense way that Michael Bay turned Pearl Harbor into romance.
Yeah, I hate that.
Because you're like Pearl Harbor, there's not quite enough drama in this story. So I'm going to give it a little romance.
Yeah, and look, they hadn't forced it to the end. They had a good romance built up. It was subtle, it was a work in progress.
It was credible.
It was credible. It was great, and then at the end, he rescues her, and in the middle of everyone fighting and dying, they're kissing.
Yeah.
It's their From Here to Eternity scene with chainmail.
Yeah,
They're in the waves. He tells her he loves her. They kiss. Like, I'm a woman. In theory, that whole element of it is intended to be targeted at me.
It's for you.
I'm like, this is ridiculous. I know, chicks, dames. I didn't need that. I like the suggestion of the romance percolating and not actually the I love you part.
And so it felt, my favorite word, it felt inauthentic at that point. I got no problem with movies that have designed to appeal to people like you. 51% of the population. Also, but real quick about that, what was weird is that, since we've already spoiled everything, so he's in the water and he pulls out, he's in this final battle with Mark Strong, who thinks he's dead. Of course, that's going to spell doom for Mark Strong. He comes out of the water. He thinks she might have drowned in her fight with Mark Strong. He gets out of the water. He knows she's in trouble, maybe drowning. She's literally under the waves, right? And he thinks, first, I'm going to kill Mark Strong who's riding away. Then I'll pull her out of the water.
Absolutely. Bothered me as well.
Totally backwards. Yeah. Pull her out, shoot Mark Strong. The only way to go.
You get that matrixy kind of like arrow zipping through the
air. Pull her out.
Right.
You okay? She coughs a little bit. Or pull her out, hold her, shoot with one hand. He's Robin Hood. He's the best archer ever.
Let her pull the bow back because she's the warrior princess too now, right?
Hand her to Scott Grimes. Whatever. Do something.
Yeah, no. Right. It's the whole ending sucked. Okay, now here's just two quick other elements. The other reason it sucked is, all right, we have the final battle scene, and then they should have had the king double-cross them or whatever, right? And then you end the movie, right? Instead, they go on with a little extra like, oh, by the way, there's him in the woods, and here he is.
No, that's to set up if there is.
I
assume.
I hope not.
The last
or at least to, I don't even know if that's for part 2, but that's at least to give you, hey, this is still Robin Hood, and now the story you expect begins, but we've given you the story of how Robin Hood came to be.
Very poorly done. Very poorly done.
I didn't mind that part.
I did. And then finally, the whole theme of the movie, and this is the biggest problem. I can't believe I gave it a 7.2.
Can you change it? Right. Can we mess with that?
because the ending sucks so bad. All right. Then the whole theme of the movie is rise and rise again until lambs become lions. A theme I love. That's why I love the beginning of the movie.
Never quit. They actually say the words. Never give up. Never give up.
They never rose and rose again. Never in the whole movie. That was not the theme of the movie.
Right.
Like, they kept saying it over and over, but they didn't get knocked down and get back up, knocked down and get back up. They just had a normal movie.
Yeah.
Okay, and then, I declare him an outlaw. That's like the last line of the movie. No, but the whole trailer led you to believe that that's what it was about, etc. So, God, they couldn't have botched the ending any worse than they did.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
You're like personally miffed about this.
I am, because I was so excited about the movie, and I thought they did such a good job in the first 75%. And then, like the Republican Party, jump off a cliff. It's crazy.
Robin, just like the Republican Party.
At least for me. It started out good and wound up disastrous.